Welcome to History Decode, where the past comes alive. Every week we uncover fascinating stories, forgotten events, and the hidden truths that shaped our world. If you love exploring history in a whole new way, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a story. 98% of the people who watch my videos haven't subscribed to my channel yet. So please take a moment to subscribe. I'm aiming to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support will help me get there. For centuries, actors have been celebrated not only for their craft, but for the mystery they carry. They are glimpses of stories, of lives lived under public scrutiny, yet shrouded in secrecy. Among them, one Irish actor stands out, not merely for his piercing blue eyes or unforgettable performances, but for the remarkable journey from a quiet upbringing in County Cork to the dazzling stages of global cinema. That actor is Cillian Murphy. Born on May 25, 1976, in the small town of Douglas near Cork, Ireland, Cillian Murphy entered a world that was at once ordinary and yet brimming with subtle opportunities. His father, Brendan Murphy, was a civil servant, a man of discipline and quiet wisdom. His mother, a French teacher, instilled in young Cillian a love for language, culture, and a curiosity that would later shape his artistic choices. Growing up in a family that valued education and intellectual pursuits, Murphy was never pushed into the limelight. Yet the seeds of curiosity, resilience, and artistry were planted early. Cillian was not an only child. He had siblings, with whom he shared the rhythms of Irish family life. Their home was filled with books, music, and a gentle encouragement to explore the world. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Ireland itself was undergoing subtle but significant cultural shifts. The quiet towns, the rolling green hills, and the local traditions formed a backdrop that would silently influence his worldview. Unlike many of his peers, Cillian found comfort in observation, watching, listening, and absorbing the details that would later inform the depth of his performances. From an early age, Cillian displayed a duality of interest. He was intellectually inclined, fascinated by the complexities of human behavior and literature. At the same time, he nurtured a love for music, often spending hours with a guitar, learning chords and melodies, experimenting with sound. This early exposure to music was not just a pastime, it was a foundation for the rhythm, timing, and emotional sensitivity that would later define his acting style. Cillian's formative years were spent at Presentation Brothers College, an institution known for its academic rigor and emphasis on personal development. Here, the young Murphy was exposed to theater for the first time. School plays, recitations, and debates became his playground. He discovered the magic of embodying a character, of speaking lines not as a recitation, but as an experience. This fascination, however, did not immediately translate into a lifelong ambition. Like many young adults, Cillian initially envisioned a conventional path. He enrolled at University College Cork to study law, a decision reflective of his family's value for education and stability. Yet, even as he sat in lecture halls, surrounded by legal texts and principles, his mind wandered to a different stage, one of expression, creativity, and exploration. Music remained a parallel passion. In his late teens, Cillian became part of a local rock band, the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans. The band's name alone hints at a playful, imaginative spirit. For Murphy, performing with the band was not merely about fame or attention. It was about connection, communication, and the thrill of creation. Yet, even as he strummed his guitar and sang, the pull toward acting became undeniable. There was a certain alchemy in the theater, a combination of immediacy, collaboration, and vulnerability that resonated deeply with him. By the mid-1990s, Cillian faced a choice. He could continue along a conventional path, studying law and perhaps entering a stable profession, or he could embrace the uncertainty of an artistic career. His decision would set the trajectory not only of his professional life, but of his personal identity. Choosing the latter, Murphy immersed himself fully into theater, seeking roles that challenged him, characters that demanded honesty and introspection. One of his earliest breakthroughs came with Disco Pigs, a play written by Enda Walsh. The story, intense and unconventional, mirrored the kind of risk Murphy was willing to take, exploring raw emotions emotion, vulnerability, and the complexities of human relationships. His performance captured the attention of critics and audiences alike, marking the emergence of a young actor who was not merely talented but profoundly committed to his craft. Even in these early days, a pattern became evident. Cillian Murphy did not chase fame. He sought substance, depth, and authenticity. He gravitated toward roles that allowed him to explore the human condition, to inhabit lives very different from his own, yet resonant in universal truths. His Irish heritage, quiet upbringing, and formative experiences, the music, the literature, the intellectual curiosity, coalesced into a foundation that would sustain him through decades of cinematic exploration. The streets of Douglas, the classroom walls of Presentation Brothers College, the music-filled evenings with his band, these elements, seemingly ordinary, were in fact shaping the contours of an extraordinary artistic journey. Cillian Murphy's early life was not dramatic in the conventional sense. There were no scandalous headlines, no extraordinary privileges, no meteoric rise in childhood fame. There was instead a deliberate cultivation of curiosity, discipline, and artistic integrity, qualities that would define the man he would become. As the 1990s gave way to a new millennium, the quiet boy from Douglas was preparing to step onto a larger stage, not just in Ireland, but across the world. His journey from these formative years toward international recognition was still unfolding, but the foundation was set, a combination of family grounding, personal exploration, and an unyielding commitment to craft. In the next chapter of this story, we will follow Cillian Murphy as he transitions from the stages of Ireland to the silver screens of cinema. We will explore the pivotal moments, the challenges, and the decisions that transformed him from a promising young actor into a global icon, an actor whose piercing gaze and understated power have captivated audiences around the world. For now, as we look back at these early years, it is clear that every note played, every page read, and every line rehearsed was part of a meticulous, almost unseen preparation. The boy in Douglas was quietly laying the groundwork for a career defined not by flashiness, but by depth, intelligence, and an enduring artistry that continues to inspire generations of actors and fans alike. As the 1990s unfolded in Ireland, Cillian Murphy found himself at a crossroads, a young man torn between conventional expectations and the allure of artistic exploration. Though initially pursuing law at University College Cork, Murphy's heart increasingly belonged to the arts. In the quiet corners of libraries, among the ancient tomes of European literature, he discovered the power of story, the way words could evoke emotion, stir imagination, and illuminate human complexity. Yet outside the classroom, his other passion, music, continued to flourish. Cillian's early musical ventures were far from casual hobbies. He joined the Sons of Mr. Green Jeans, a rock band composed of his close friends, each eager to experiment with sound and rhythm. In the rehearsal rooms and local pubs of Cork, Murphy honed not only his musical abilities, but also the discipline, timing, and emotional expressiveness that would later define his acting. Music, in essence, became a form of performance, a stage without a script, but filled with improvisation, vulnerability, and raw emotion. Each chord struck, each note sung, mirrored the kind of nuanced attention he would later bring to film and theater. Yet, the transition from music to acting was neither sudden nor unplanned. It was the culmination of a growing recognition that performance, whether musical or theatrical, was where Murphy's true voice resided. His first significant exposure to theater occurred through university productions and local drama workshops. Unlike casual participation, Murphy approached these roles with seriousness and dedication. Every rehearsal became an exercise in understanding human psychology, emotion, and intention. One of his earliest breakthroughs in acting came with Enda Walsh's Disco Pigs, a play that demanded both physical intensity and emotional vulnerability. Murphy's portrayal of Pig, a character bound by obsessive loyalty and raw passion, captivated audiences and critics alike. The intensity of the role mirrored his own approach to life: meticulous preparation, deep introspection, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. Disco Pigs was more than a theatrical performance. It was a statement of arrival, a clear announcement that Cillian Murphy was a force to be reckoned with in Irish theater. This period also marked the beginning of his collaboration with director directors and peers who recognized his extraordinary ability to inhabit complex characters. Murphy's performances were never merely about memorizing lines, they were about transformation. He studied movement, gesture, and speech patterns, ensuring that each portrayal was unique, deliberate, and compelling. This holistic approach to acting, deeply rooted in observation and study, became his signature style. By the late 1990s, Murphy was making the transition from theater to film. His first cinematic experiences were modest, yet meaningful. Small independent films allowed him to explore the nuances of the camera lens, learning how subtle facial expressions and eye movements could convey volumes of unspoken emotion. Unlike theater, where projection and exaggeration were necessary, film demanded restraint, precision, and an acute awareness of framing and perspective. Murphy adapted quickly, demonstrating a natural understanding of both mediums, a rare skill for a young actor at the onset of his career. During this time, Cillian remained deeply connected to his Irish roots. Though the lure of international opportunities began to appear on the horizon, he chose projects that allowed him to stay grounded. The culture of Ireland, its language, landscapes, and traditions permeated his performances. Whether portraying ordinary citizens in Dublin streets or fictional characters navigating intense personal crises, Murphy brought an authenticity that resonated with audiences. He was not merely acting, he was translating lived experience, memory, and observation into art. By the end of the decade, Cillian Murphy had established himself as a serious actor, capable of carrying challenging roles both on stage and on screen. Yet despite this growing recognition, fame remained distant. Murphy's focus was not on celebrity, accolades, or red carpet appearances. His motivation was craft, exploration, and understanding, qualities that would later define the hallmark of his career. In reflecting upon these early years, several patterns emerge. First, Murphy's journey was never linear. Music, literature, and theater coexisted in a delicate balance, each informing the other, each contributing to a nuanced understanding of performance. Second, his early collaborations, whether with friends in a band, fellow actors in university, or visionary playwrights, shaped his approach to creative teamwork and artistic integrity. And third, even before global recognition, Murphy exhibited an unwavering commitment to authenticity, a quality that would define every character he portrayed thereafter. These formative years culminated in a readiness to embrace larger challenges. The stage was no longer enough. The cinematic world beckoned, and with it, the opportunity to collaborate with directors who would recognize his rare combination of intensity, subtlety, and presence. His journey from local theater in Cork to the international film arena was just beginning, but the foundation, carefully laid over years of study, practice, and observation, ensured that every step forward would be deliberate, measured, and profoundly impactful. As we move into the next chapter of Cillian Murphy's life, we will witness the emergence of an actor who, through discipline, intellect, and an unyielding pursuit of authenticity, transforms not only his own career but also the landscape of modern cinema. From the intensity of early independent films to the global stage of Hollywood, Murphy's story is one of careful cultivation, artistic integrity, and a quiet but undeniable brilliance that captures the imagination of audiences worldwide. As the new millennium dawned, Cillian Murphy was poised on the threshold of a remarkable transformation. The quiet, introspective young man from Douglas had spent years cultivating his craft, moving seamlessly from music to theater and mastering the delicate art of performance. Now, the world of cinema beckoned, offering him a stage far larger than any Irish theater could provide, a stage where subtlety, intensity, and precision could meet global audiences. Murphy's early film work in the late 1990s had already hinted at his potential. Independent projects provided opportunities to experiment with character, emotion, and nuance. Yet it was in the early 2000s that the international spotlight began to turn toward him. One of the most pivotal roles came in Danny Boyle's 2002 film 28 Days Later, a post-apocalyptic thriller that would not only redefine the zombie genre, but also introduce Murphy to audiences around the world. In 28 Days Later, Murphy played Jim, a bicycle courier who awakens in a deserted London after a devastating viral outbreak. The role demanded more than conventional acting. It required visceral emotional authenticity, a portrayal of fear, grief, and resilience in the face of unimaginable chaos. Murphy's performance was mesmerizing. He captured the raw vulnerability of a man navigating a world that had suddenly become alien, terrifying, and lonely. Critics praised his ability to anchor the narrative, bringing depth and humanity to a film otherwise defined by terror and spectacle. Simultaneously, Murphy continued to explore complex, layered characters in other projects. Neil Jordan's Breakfast on Pluto, 2005, provided another platform to showcase his versatility. Here, Murphy portrayed Patrick Kitten Braden, a transgender woman navigating love, identity, and societal challenges in 1970s Ireland. The role required sensitivity, empathy, and an understanding of human complexity. Murphy's performance transcended stereotypes, earning him acclaim for his ability to inhabit the character fully, delivering a portrayal both poignant and authentic. During this period, Murphy also began working with directors who would recognize his capacity for subtlety and intensity, including the legendary Christopher Nolan. Although the major collaborations with Nolan would come slightly later, the seeds were sown in this era. Murphy's work demonstrated a rare combination of intellectual depth and emotional resonance, qualities that would define his later blockbuster performances. It is important to note that Murphy's rise was not meteoric in the conventional sense. He did not chase celebrity or red carpet appearances. Instead, his ascent was deliberate, characterized by careful selection of roles, deep preparation, and a commitment to artistic integrity. This approach allowed him to navigate the often turbulent world of acting without compromising his personal values or the quality of his work. In addition to film, Murphy continued to maintain connections to theater and music, understanding that these disciplines enriched his cinematic work. The discipline of theater, its demand for presence, timing, and sustained engagement, continued to inform his film performances. Music, with its rhythm and emotional resonance, further honed his sensitivity to pacing, tone, and mood. In every role, whether on stage or on screen, Murphy brought this holistic understanding of art, creating performances that felt lived in, immediate, and profoundly real. By 2007, Murphy's reputation had solidified. He was no longer merely an Irish actor with promise. He had become a figure of international recognition. Audiences and critics alike noted the magnetic intensity he brought to every role, the ability to convey complex emotional landscapes with a glance, a gesture, gestures, or shifts in posture. He was an actor whose presence demanded attention, yet whose personal life remained carefully shielded from the glare of fame. Throughout this rise, a pattern became evident. Murphy gravitated towards stories that explored the human condition, often portraying characters in extreme circumstances, navigating moral ambiguity, personal loss, and identity crises. He selected projects not for commercial appeal, but for narrative depth, ensuring that each role contributed to a growing body of work defined by intelligence, subtlety, and authenticity. As we reflect on this period, several key themes emerge. First, Murphy's early career demonstrates the power of patience, preparation, and deliberate choice. Second, his performances illustrate a deep understanding of character psychology, enabling him to inhabit lives very different from his own. And third, despite growing acclaim, Murphy maintained a grounded personal life, a choice that would become a hallmark of his career and one of the reasons for his enduring respect within the acting community. In the years following these breakthrough roles, Cillian Murphy would move from promise to legend. He would take on iconic roles that would define modern cinema, from Thomas Shelby in Peaky Blinders to pivotal characters in Christopher Nolan's cinematic universe. But the foundation of this legendary career was laid in the early 2000s through careful role selection, relentless dedication, and an unwavering commitment to authenticity. In the next chapter of our journey, we will explore Murphy's Hollywood era, his collaborations with global directors, and the roles that would elevate him to international stardom. From blockbuster franchises to critically acclaimed masterpieces, this period would solidify his place as one of the most respected and enigmatic actors of his generation. By 2008, Cillian Murphy's reputation had firmly crossed the boundaries of Ireland. From indie films and theater to the attention of Hollywood's elite, his journey reflected the rare blend of discipline, intelligence, and understated charisma. It was in this era that he began collaborating with some of cinema's most visionary directors, including Christopher Nolan. Murphy's work with Nolan began with Batman Begins. Murphy appeared in Inception, 2010, playing Robert Robert Fisher, the heir to a corporate empire whose subconscious became the terrain of a heist within dreams. Here, Murphy's ability to convey layered emotion was critical. He captured vulnerability, doubt, and inner conflict, anchoring the film's complex narrative with quiet intensity. The role required precision, every glance, hesitation, and inflection, contributing to the audience's understanding of the character's inner world. During this period, Murphy also starred in Sunshine, 2007, Red Eye, 2005, and Breakfast on Pluto, 2005, continuing to showcase his versatility across genres, from psychological thrillers to dramas exploring identity and sexuality. Yet it was his ability to oscillate between mainstream blockbusters and thought-provoking indie films that set him apart from his contemporaries. Murphy's breakout television role, however, came with Peaky Blinders, 2013. Portraying Thomas Shelby, the calculating and enigmatic leader of a Birmingham gang, Murphy captivated audiences worldwide. Shelby was complex, ruthless yet emotionally scarred, brilliant yet morally ambiguous. Murphy's performance transformed a historical period drama into a cultural phenomenon. Every movement, every silence, every glance was deliberate, demonstrating a mastery over subtlety rarely seen on television. During this period, Murphy maintained a careful balance between professional demands and personal life. Married to artist Yvonne McGuinness, Murphy prioritized privacy, shielding his family from media scrutiny. This choice, rare in Hollywood, underscored his belief that personal grounding was essential for sustaining artistic integrity. As the 2010s progressed, Murphy's career expanded into international recognition. His collaborations with Nolan continued with Dunkirk, 2017, where he played a shivering, traumatized soldier. Minimal dialogue, maximum impact. Murphy's ability to convey fear and resilience through subtle expression made him integral to the film's tension and realism. In parallel, Murphy remained committed to theater and Irish cinema, emphasizing the importance of his roots. He frequently returned to Ireland, selecting projects that resonated with personal and cultural significance. His choices reflected a deliberate avoidance of superficial celebrity, favoring roles that challenged him emotionally and intellectually. Away from cameras and critics, Murphy's life remained anchored in family and quiet reflection. Married to Yvonne McGuinness, the couple shares 2 children. Murphy is known for prioritizing family life over public appearances, often retreating from media attention. Friends and collaborators describe him as thoughtful, introspective, and deeply loyal, a man whose personal values inform every professional decision. Murphy's personal discipline, early mornings, reading, music, and meditation, supports his professional focus. Unlike many actors of his stature, he avoids scandal and distraction, ensuring his craft remains central. This balance between work and personal life allows him to sustain intensity without succumbing to burnout, a key factor in his longevity. Cillian Murphy's impact extends beyond performances. He has redefined acting for a generation, showing that subtlety can rival spectacle, that depth can supersede glamour. His career demonstrates that consistent choices, commitment to craft, and intellectual curiosity can create enduring art. In Ireland, Murphy is revered not only as an actor, but as a cultural icon, embodying the country's creativity, resilience, and understated elegance. Internationally, he is celebrated as a master of psychological nuance, an actor whose presence elevates every project, whether on television, film, or stage. Today, Cillian Murphy stands as a testament to deliberate artistry. From the quiet streets of Douglas to the world's most prestigious stages and screens, his journey reflects a fusion of talent, discipline, and authenticity. He has never relied on spectacle, he relies on substance. Every character is a study in humanity, every performance a reflection of careful preparation and deep empathy. In reflecting upon Murphy's life and career, one sees a man who has transformed cinema without losing his core, a man who has embraced fame without compromising his privacy, creativity, or values. The piercing blue eyes that captivate audiences are more than a signature look. They are windows into a mind that observes, understands, and communicates the profound complexity of human experience. Cillian Murphy's story is ongoing. Each new role, each new project adds layers to a legacy that continues to inspire actors, filmmakers, and audiences worldwide. And while the world may glimpse only fragments of his life, History Decode Decode brings you closer to the man behind the gaze, the artist, the son, the husband, the father, and above all, the relentless seeker of truth through performance.